Hello Taurus, Sun, Moon and Rising. These are your messages for October. And the very first card that we have coming up for you is the Judgment card. Bit of a heavy hitter to have as your first card, especially as an underlying energy. The Judgment card, it's a card of change. It's a card of transformation, rebirth, renewal. There can be a sense when the Judgment card shows up that, something that we thought that was dead and buried, like some chance that we'd missed, it comes back around again. So there can be a sense of that with the Judgment card. Now, I want to talk about the Judgment card for a moment. When we talk about the Judgment card, we use words like transformation, change, renewal. It all sounds great, right? It's the phoenix rising up from the ashes. But it's the card for Pluto, and that transformation, it's not easy. We say the phoenix is rising up from the ashes because the phoenix has been burnt in the first place. A lot of times when this card shows up, we have gone through some brutal changes. There's a sense with this that change, whatever that transformation is, whatever changes have been taking place, they have been crushing, they have been so heavy. The whole reason you are being reborn is because an old you has had to die away. It's not like the death card, which is like the death of the old, birth of the new. But Judgment is a kind of transformational energy in the same sense. Something big happens, something that transforms you from the inside out when the Judgment card shows up. Now, it's called Judgment, right? So it calls for a judgment to be made. How do we make that judgment? Well, it's kind of like a review, and this can be like old situations that come back, or us just looking back over the cycle that we've been on. The Judgment card, it's the card before the end. The World card is the last card of the Major Arcana. It's number 21. Judgment is number 20. And this is when we look back, we do a review of the cycle that we've been on, and it can call for forgiveness sometimes, or we have to forgive other people or forgive ourselves even for, those people that have trespassed against us, or, that we have, or any grudges that we have against ourselves even. And it calls for forgiveness. Now, forgiveness can be difficult because, and I talked about this with Aries as well. It can be difficult because a lot of us have this sense of when we forgive, we're condoning. It's not that. It's about releasing ourselves. The whole thing with Judgment is, it's letting go of that old life, whatever it is, whatever you were going through before, it's letting go of that so you can now turn and face the future without fear. Whatever was holding you back, whatever was holding you down, it's gone now. And there can be this rebirth and this renewal. So like I said, it's a heavy hitter to have as an underlying energy, but let's see how it plays out in the rest of your reading. We have coming up at the heart of your reading the Ten of Cups. Now, at its core energy, the Ten of Cups, it speaks of our heart's contentment. It speaks of the end of that emotional cycle. Whatever happiness we were going for, whatever that dream was, that cycle is closing off. We've reached the end of that cycle. Now, for some of you, I don't know, with the Judgment card there, some of you may have been transformed, like your dream, your happily ever after, the idea of what your happily ever after is, that might be what has changed. That might be what has transformed. That what you thought would make you happy before, now it won't. For others of you, you might have thought that you'd missed out on your happily ever after, that, you'd missed out on the chance to have this dream, to have this kind of idyllic picture of, your heart's content, what your heart truly desires. You thought you'd missed out on that, and that's coming back again. And that's why it's at the heart of your reading. This is what everything revolves around. It's been a hard slog to get here, though. It's not been easy. You have the Temperance card coming up in the past, which is the foundation of the reading. Now, with Temperance here, this is, you've been called to have patience, and you're Taurus, so you guys are pretty patient anyway, but I believe this has tested even your patience. Temperance card is a card of patience. It's a card of moderation. It's when we have to keep the balance, and that can be hard, right? This is when we have to focus on all areas of our life. We can't focus too much on work or family. It's moderation in all things. Temperance, keeping things ticking along, keeping the balance, making sure there's harmony in our lives. It requires great patience. It can be very frustrating energy. I always say that. And maybe that's my personal opinion of this card, but I find it frustrating at times because for me, I'm always like, point me in the direction, point me on where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do, and I'll go do it. Temperance is like, no, keep the peace, stay where you are. There's not a lot of movement when Temperance shows up. But it does tell you, there's an angel here in the card. It's the card for Sagittarius, and there's an angel here. And it says, you are divinely guided. You are divinely protected. Some of you may have been coming back to what your spiritual beliefs were here. Maybe that's what's gotten you through. I'll explain why I say that when I get to the King of Cups at the end there. But let's look at the card that's in the present. energy that comes up in the present, I always say this, it's the main energy for this period. Of course, energies play out differently. Some of us can go with them. Some of us resist those energies. We have free will in how we allow the energies to play out. Some energies are easier to dodge than others. I would say the major arcana, those are more difficult bullets to dodge than some of the minor arcana energies. But our own free will, like I said, or someone else's free will that's closely connected to our story, their free will can affect how the energies play out. So we have the World card here now. Interesting that it shows up after I was talking about the Judgment card, which sits above this card. The World, it's the end of a cycle. It speaks of the end of a major cycle. It's major arcana energy. I know a lot of you Taurians, I've been speaking to a lot of you, I've been doing a lot of readings for Taurus recently. You guys have been going through it, you've been feeling it. And it's all been kind of external stuff that's been going on. Like there's been difficult situations that have been coming up. And that's why I feel like the Temperance card, it's been difficult, right? Because it's hard to keep moderation in all things. It's hard to have patience when there's so much going on around you. But with Judgment here and with the World coming up in the present, that cycle is now closing off. Something new is coming up. There is a new energy coming in for you. The World is a transitional energy, so it's not like it ends tonight and begins tomorrow, a new cycle begins tomorrow morning. It doesn't work like that. So that can be frustrating in its own sense, where we kind of feel like, we have one foot in the past, things are closing off there, things are ending, and then we kind of have we can sense that something new is coming in, but it's just around the corner, we can't see it just yet. So that has its own frustrations. But these two are heavy energies, and they're big energies that say this cycle is complete. Whatever has happened here, you have successfully completed it. Now, with Judgment sat there, it can be difficult because, like I said, it's a very heavy energy. It's a difficult energy. So the whole successful part might be something that you're like thinking, have I been successful? But where Judgment is the card for Pluto, the World is the card for Saturn. It is, you have successfully gone through the steps that you needed to in the cycle. You've successfully completed the cycle. You've learned what you needed to learn. The karma has been balanced. I'm going to look at the Future card, and then I'll try to give some examples with how these energies can play out in different areas of your life. We have the Four of Wands coming up as a future energy. So that is new energy coming in. I always see the Four of Wands as like a change in the energy around us. It is a stable energy. The fours are always very stable. But the Four of Wands can indicate a house move. It can indicate a new job. It's a change in the energy around us, an energy that really supports us. It's also where we commit more fully to where we are. It says a good start has been made. It's time to celebrate the start that's been made, and, we commit to it more fully. So let's have a look at this. If it's a relationship reading, for some of you, a relationship that you thought that was dead, you thought it was buried, you thought it had been gone, it comes back. Now, this is only going to be one that you want. So please, you'll either be experiencing this, or it's something that you'll experience within October, I guess. But it will only be one that you see as your happily ever after, because you have the Ten of Cups coming up at the heart of your reading. And you commit to this with that Four of Wands. This is that commitment. And within that relationship, even if it's one that's coming back, one that's kind of been reborn, that's come back, transformed and changed, it's totally different, because the world says that. The world says that that cycle that relationship was going through has ended. A new cycle is beginning. So there can be more commitment here. If you've just been dating, it can be where you kind of move in together, get engaged, get married, like a leveling up in the commitment that you have with this other person. For some of you, it can be something totally new. Maybe you thought your ability to love had gone. Maybe you had thought, like, with some breakup that you've had or problems that you've had in a relationship, that was gone for good. And you've realized now with the Ten of Cups that no, it hasn't gone. You've been divinely guided with that Temperance card to this. And again, though, it's a new cycle that begins. It doesn't have to be love. It doesn't have to be romance at all. If this is in your work reading, I'll be honest, I am getting more of a romantic kind of love relationship vibe from this reading. But the energies play out how they play out. And for some of you, this is going to be, say, for work or a project that you're working on for business. In that sense, like, you have a new idea of what makes you happy. If the work has just been like, that hard slog where you just have been putting in the hours, one foot in front of the other, getting the work done with that Temperance energy, there's a rebirth here now. There's a new cycle beginning, and it's leading you to your ultimate fulfillment, to your ultimate happiness. Some of you may be changing work with that Four of Wands. You might be moving house. Like I said, that is what the Four of Wands can indicate as well. And it feels like there's a lot of hope around this move. There's a lot of hope around wherever this Four of Wands energy is, because you do have the Ten of Cups sat above it. It's almost like a dream come true. Now, I'll talk about this at the end of the video. My little message that I give at the end is that I've seen that a lot of people there've been things that have started to happen for some people, and it feels too good to be true. And I'm not really getting that here, but don't get caught in that trap, Taurus. Don't get caught in the trap of, is this really happening? Is this too good to be true? Can I trust this? Those are heavy energies. Like I keep saying, judgment and the world are heavy energies. So they can feel like, is this happening? Isn't this happening? Four of Wands in the future says it is happening. Now, what's the advice here for you? How do you manifest your goals, your aims, your ambitions? We have the King of Cups coming up as the crowning energy. Now, of course, it's a general reading and the energies can play out both ways. There can be our energies or the energies of someone who's very closely related to our story at this time, like if it's a relationship that we're going for. So it's the advice there then, because those energies affect us as well. So if this is someone else, the King of Cups could represent someone who has like water sign characteristics, which would be Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. But the thing with the King of Cups, his energy, and it can apply to anyone, is one of someone who has mastery over their emotions. What does that mean? It means they're very aware of how they feel. They are very conscious of their feelings, like they know what love is. They're very aware of their emotions. But the thing with him is, because he has mastery of his emotions, he can control his emotions. He can control what he shows. So sometimes when I see the King of Cups, this is someone, and I always say this, who is like still waters run deep with this king. What you see on the surface is not what's going on beneath the surface. So he doesn't always show how he's feeling. Now that may be you. If this King of Cups is you, it feels like you kind of know what's making you happy right now. You're aware of your emotions and you've come to this place of knowing. You've come to this place of full conscious knowledge of your emotions through the Temperance card, through that patience that you showed. You've been waiting for something. Now, some of you may have been waiting or working towards this King of Cups energy. This is someone else. And it feels like this is someone who may now be ready to show you how they feel. But for a lot of you, I think it's your energy. I feel like there's been a lot going on with you emotionally. You haven't fully expressed it and you may now be ready to express it. And that's what takes you to that Four of Wands energy that's coming up in the future for you. This is that commitment. You're now ready to emotionally commit to something which you haven't been ready to. And it's hardly surprising when you have like 3 major arcana cards like Judgment, Temperance, and the World. Yeah, I wouldn't be that ready to commit either when things are shifting and changing like that. But it feels like you are now ready to. I'll be honest with you, when the Ten of Cups comes up and the Four of Wands, the only one that's missing, like there's 2 more, I think Justice and the Hierophant. If those had come up as well, that's marriage to me. There could be talk of marriage for some of you, or that kind of level of commitment in a relationship. Now, even if you're completely single, and I know it's kind of coming across as a more relationship kind of reading, people that are in relationships. Even if you're completely single, it feels like renewed hope that, a new cycle begins that is allowing you to move towards this level of commitment. Some of you have been working so hard for that new job, for that new house, and that feels like it's coming in. I love that center column. I love that 10 of Cups and that 4 of Wands energy, because that very simply talks about happiness, commitment, celebration. 4 of Wands can indicate, as like I said, a celebration, a wedding. There's something to celebrate here, finally. And I say finally because of Temperance. It's been a hard slog. It's not been easy getting here. Now, I want to say something else about the King of Cups. Most of the readings that I've done, I think you guys are like the 8th reading that I've done. So I've only got 4 more to go. The King of Cups or the Queen of Cups, that kind of Cups energy, they are the court cards that have been dominating the readings that I've done this time. That tells me there's a level of emotional awareness that's coming that wasn't there before. There's a clarity of, this is what I want. Now, what is emotional clarity? For some people, it's going to be realizing what doesn't make you happy. Now, that's not so much in your reading, but that's emotional awareness too, right? Because emotions are not just happiness and love and joy. It's the other side of that spectrum too. What makes us unhappy? What are we unsatisfied with? What are we fearful of? It's that side too. And the King of Cups, he would be aware of all of that. He'd be aware of all of those emotions. There could be a sense of, with that 10 of Cups and the King of Cups, this kind of focus on family at this time. 10 of Cups can show families, reunions. Again, it's a celebration card. So there is getting together with other people. But there is this kind of sense, this overriding energy of you've put in the work. This is what you've been working towards, and it's starting to happen. That new cycle that you wanted, that change that you wanted in the energy. Because the Four of Wands, it can be people that support our creativity as well. A group of people around us who support our creativity. We now feel able to express our, creative endeavors, our passions. That's what wands are. The energy that we put out into the world. But it's coming from an emotional place. Now, you guys are an earth sign, so that's Pentacles energy. You don't have any Pentacles coming up here. But that doesn't feel like a bad thing. It feels like for a lot of you, this is a change that you've been working towards and you've been waiting for a while now. Now let's have a look at your oracle cards. The first two are going to be more kind of love, romance based. So apply them accordingly. But the first one from the romance angels is getting to know each other. And it says, as you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. This very much speaks of that King of Cups energy to me. Maybe with the temperance above this, that, some of you have had feelings for someone, or, someone may have had feelings for you, but it feels like that kind of romance-based, the kind of relationship's been kind of stalled because temperance has done that. It's like, have patience, don't say anything yet. There might have been other things going on in your life with judgment, with that review that you've been doing, like you're making a judgment call in your life. You've been deciding what you want to do, deciding how to go forward. Now with the world, with that cycle completing, you're in a place where you can express how you feel. And I don't mean going up to someone and saying, hey, I love you. Like, you don't have to do that. But it could be, the card says, getting to know each other, getting to know this person better. Are they worthy of your emotions? I think for some of you, yes, you have the Four of Wands coming up. And there's more about this kind of revelation from the Whispers of Love. We have number 38. Honesty is essential, and the card says, to be a loving person, it's important that we speak truthfully and in a loving manner. So this too speaks of expression. There's no swords cards coming up here, which are about communication, how we communicate our thoughts. But these are about the feelings. The King of Cups can do that. There's this strong sense with him coming up there that, of someone who's not said how they've been feeling. And now it's time to get to know each other better. Now it's time to express our emotions, display some of that honesty. Now we have coming up from the Wisdom of the Oracle, number 12, a change in the wind. And this card is very much, it's about some kind of unseen change that we can feel coming in. No surprise with Judgment and the World there. It feels like some change has been initiated. It can be kind of like a bit, I don't want to say frightening, but when we're like, oh my God, I can sense something's coming in. The King of Cups, he's very intuitive. He's very spiritual. He's a healing energy as well. It's not just emotional. That's all part of his emotions. He's very intuitive. So there is some shift that you feel. Now, that might be leaving you feeling not so grounded. Like with that temperance energy, that's a very grounding energy. No matter what we say about patience, how it can be frustrating, how we feel kind of stalled, it is a very kind of safe, a very grounded energy. But it kind of feels with the change in the wind that there has been a change in the wind. Something new is coming in now. Now, we are creatures of habit. Human beings. As much as we want change, we can strive for change, we can work towards change. But even that change that we so desire, it can be kind of frightening when it comes in. Think about it. We can work really hard for a promotion, right? Then we get the promotion. That's the change that we want. But when we start that job, there can be this sense of, am I going to be able to handle the extra work? Am I going to be able to handle the extra responsibility? So there is always a fear, like change is not ever easy for us. So there can be this kind of uneasiness with a change in the wind. But this card reminds us that, the only thing that is constant in our human experience is change. Things will always be changing. This card also speaks of transformation. So you almost have 3 cards of change here: Judgment, the World, and now a change in the wind. It can feel at first, and maybe that's what the World card is showing, that it kind of feels like this change is happening too fast, or it's not what I want. But I think you will find with that King of Cups there, this is what you want. And it takes you to a very stable place with that Four of Wands. Like I said, fours are very stable energy. This card reminds us that life is about to get very interesting when a change in the wind shows up. So kind of buckle up, make the most of the opportunities that come in. Let it kind of sweep you along, I guess, is the best thing that you can do. And prepare for the times that are coming up ahead. Be curious about the change. Don't fear the change. But like I said, I feel for a lot of you, you want this change. You've desired this change for a while now. It just feels that, it's the change in the tempo, and I don't know who else got this. I think it was Sagittarius. They got a similar message where, there's a change in the tempo, and that can kind of throw us a little bit when that comes in. Maybe that's why you have number 19, rest and rejuvenation, coming up from the energy oracle cards. This is a card about relaxation and meditation. It's about finding that inner peace, that maybe when all this change is going on, taking that step back just to breathe and to just allow yourself to kind of relax and get to that calm place. You can do this. There's nothing kind of frightening coming up here. It's more, it feels like that upheaval, the transformation, the change has been, left you kind of feeling thrown a little bit, kind of unsteady on your feet. It says there's peace and wisdom coming in. And I feel like for a lot of you, you've gained a level of peace and wisdom through this temperance energy that you've been going through. If you get leisure time, take advantage of it. That's another thing. With that Four of Wands, that's also a pause. That's, it's when we reach a plateau, we can stop, we can celebrate what we've done. Rest and rejuvenation takes that one step further. It's saying, rest if you need to. Take a breath. Things are going to change. Things are going to keep growing and moving from here. You will have assistance from spirit if you need it. But it's about making sure that you have your quiet time, that you take that step back when you need to. Now, each of the energy oracle cards does have an affirmation, and I'm going to end with the affirmation for rest and rejuvenation. And it says, I make relaxation a part of my daily life. Peace and quiet bring me clarity and joy.